Today we're going to talk about how to save a lot of money. For myself and my wife, we save right at 80% of our annual income. And we do it in a way that neither one of us feels deprived. So let's get right into it. First way is finding free stuff.
For
You know, they say that one man's trash is another man's treasure. That is absolutely true. You'd be surprised what people get rid of. And you can find it like on Amazon Marketplace, or for us, we live near a military base. So people come and go quite a bit. And you can usually get stuff from when they're PCSing and moving away. They're either selling it for much cheaper or they're giving it away. Bottom line is, there is definitely stuff to be found. So starting with our kids, I have a 9-year-old and a 14-year-old. So my daughter's clothes, we have friends that their daughter's about a year older than my daughter. So whenever she grows out of her clothes, we take them. They give them to us, and we basically get free clothes for my daughter. Now we still have to buy like little things here and there, but for the most part, that expense is reduced. And if you have kids, and you know how fast they grow, they're in clothes and they're out of clothes, and that can really add up. Furniture is another thing. We got a lot of free furniture. Again, like I said, from Facebook Marketplace and just people moving. Sometimes there's, maybe a scratch here and there, but nothing you can't fix. And I don't get me wrong. I'm not saying go get busted up furniture, but we've got really nice furniture. So I'll put a picture up here. Everything in this picture was free. Everything. And that's nice stuff. My kids' beds were free, and not the mattresses. Okay. I don't do use mattresses. That grosses me out a little bit, but the bed frames were free. The desk I use, my work desk, was free. I'd say probably about 90% of our furniture in this house was free or highly discounted. Matter of fact, that workout bike right there, that's a $1,200 workout bike. That was $100. And we got that from a gym was upgrading all their equipment. So they were getting rid of everything super cheap. $100. Great deal. That foosball table over there, that was a gift. So that was free. So, but again, 90% of our furniture, haven't paid for it. Outside of that, you can also find things like, I'm trying to give an example. I found a used lawnmower that somebody was getting rid of on Facebook Marketplace because it wasn't running. It wasn't starting right. So I took my chance. You know what? If nothing else, I can get rid of it. But let me see what's going on with this thing. So I took it. Turns out it was a spark plug. $5. $5 new spark plug. Lawnmower runs as good as new. And you can decide what you want to do with that, right? You can even sell that and make a couple bucks. I needed a lawnmower, so I kept it. Bottom line is, look for free stuff. Second way to save money is buying generic food. And we've done this for a long time because honestly, you really can't tell the difference, right? You really can't. And in doing this saves us money every month on our grocery bill. And there's actually an interesting little study by Dave Ramsey, and I'm going to throw it up here. There's a couple recipes, and they just show how much money you save by using generic brands as opposed to name brand brands to make your dinners. That's a simple thing you can do to reduce your expenses, and we definitely do that. Like, I don't remember I don't think we buy any name brand things food-wise that I can think of. The third thing we're going to talk about is evaluating expenses. And we do this on a yearly basis. And what I mean by evaluating expenses is look at your monthly bills that you probably don't really think about because they're just automatically being taken out. So your cell phone bill, your insurance, your electric bill, your water bill, all those things. So especially for like your phone bill and your internet bill, I know you've seen like they always have promos for new customers, but they don't offer those promos for existing customers. But if you give them a call and you say, hey, AT&T, I noticed y'all have this promo for 12 months, half the cost for a new customer. I'm an existing customer. I've been with you so long. I am shopping around for a new internet provider or a new phone service provider. What can we do to get my bill down? And honestly, I found that 95 to 99% of the time, I've gotten a reduction on those bills. And you can do the same thing for things like your car insurance. So for all of those bills, make that yearly call, tell them you're shopping around, and more often than not, they'll reduce those bills. And it's not one reduction. So let's say AT&T lowers your bill by $20 a month. Okay, That's not going to make a huge difference in and of itself. But when you combine them all and then you compound that over the year, it does make a nice little difference. At least for us, I feel better knowing that I'm paying, $20 less for a service, but I'm getting the same service. So, like I said at the beginning, we're not feeling deprived, but we are still paying less and saving money. So I actually feel better about it. I want to add one small part to try to lower your electric bill or your water bill, and that's that, at least for me, with the two kids running around, I'm constantly walking behind them, turning off lights. Or yelling at them to get out of the shower or a bath. My daughter loves to take baths. So what I've done is I showed both of them the water bill and the electric bill. And I told them that every month that those bills are lower than they are this month, they get to have the difference. And that difference gets invested into their accounts. And so we're about 3 weeks into that, and I'll have to keep an update on how that goes. But for the first couple of weeks, I haven't been turning off nearly as many lights. Still a couple, but not nearly as many. All right, back to it. Number 4, and I hate to even say this, but it's creating a budget. And I know it's a hassle. I know it's not fun, but you need it. You have to figure out what your money looks like. It's different for every individual, so you can't just listen to one person, myself included, or 100 people telling you how to spend your money because you don't have a baseline. You need the baseline that a budget provides. All right, so just go through a budget. What we did is we created it when we first started our financial independence journey. Is we created a budget just to get a baseline of what things look like, and then from that, we saw, okay, we have leftover money every month. How much of that do we want to save and invest? And we started out aggressive. It's mostly me, right? My wife is kind of tagging along. She's cool with letting me do it. But I want to retire as early as possible. So I'm super aggressive. I took all of it. It's all getting saved and invested. Which leads me to number 5. And that's pay yourself first, right? Don't pay yourself what's left over, because chances are if you do that, you're going to have less left over because you're spending money and money's seeping out where you don't even pay attention to it because you're not creating a budget. So if you take that money from that first month's budget, you take that budget, you see, okay, I have $500 left over. I'm going to make an automatic allotment of, let's say, $400. So you have a $100 buffer in there. This is just an example. I'm not recommending to do this. I did this. Those aren't the exact numbers, but I'm using that for simplicity's sake. So let's say 400, I'm going to make an automatic allotment into wherever I want that money to go as a savings account. That leads me to number 6, right? Yes, number 6. And that's don't be afraid to ask. I know some people are embarrassed. Some people think it makes them look poor or like they can't afford things. I ask for a discount everywhere I go. It does not matter. So I usually start with, I was a teacher, right? My wife works for the government. And I have 2 kids. So I would just go down the list. Do you have a government discount? Yes? Great. Do you offer a teacher discount? Yes? Cool. What's the age for a kid to be counted as an adult or whatever? So whatever you can do, just ask. And I've found that 3 out of 5 times there's some kind of discount. It might only be a couple dollars here and there, but again, it's one of those things that adds up. Or you might even get surprised there's a decent discount, but never just take it at face value. Ask every single time. Number 7, now we're getting into the big ticket items, is a car or a vehicle. We always had used vehicles. I did have one new vehicle me and my wife first started dating, but since then it's always been used vehicles. Matter of fact, when we got married, she was driving that car that I already had. It was already paid off, and I was driving her old college car, and I would get made fun of. It was a 2004 Chevy Cavalier, and I'm a pretty big fella. If you know anything about cars, if you want to look it up, that's a small little Chevy coupe. That's not a big car, and it looked kind of beat up because we were in Texas, so the sun is just beating on that car. So the paint is messed up. The inside, the dash is all dried and cracked up, pieces falling everywhere. But it worked. It got me from point A to point B. My insurance was super low because the car wasn't hardly worth anything. It was still decent on gas because it's so small. I'm fine with that. We had no car payment. That's all money that I got to save. And number 8 is, and I'm going to create another video later on getting more in detail about this, but it's house hacking. So we live for free. We don't pay rent. We don't pay mortgage. We live completely free. And like I said, I'm going to create a video on how we do that. But that's most people's biggest expense. So all these things combined allow us to save about 80% of our income and really, really grow our net worth pretty rapidly. So if any of this is helpful to you, if you do any of these things already, please let me know in the comments below and give me a like, and I'll see you next week.